Hello, everyone. I'm Nicola from Belgrade University, professor assistant. I'm teaching adult learning theories with a special focus on critical thinking and utopian thinking. This is my PhD topic. Um, and today, together with my colleague, Professor Violeta Orlovich-Lovren, we are going to present our topic. Now I will give you floor to Professor and show the presentation powers.
Thank you, Nicola. Good morning, everybody. Dobro jutro. We have great, beautiful weather here. I hope everybody can enjoy at least the atmosphere that we share here. Hope you can we hear? Okay, I hope so. So it is great pleasure to be with this project, which connects so many disciplines and so many experiences and countries. And the main connection is critical thinking. Both Nicole and me, we are dealing with it both theoretically and as much as we can through our teaching. And it is really very special occasion and very interesting experience for us. As you realize, we are in hybrid mode here. We have our colleagues here in the room, and we have colleagues from all around online. And we do hope we are going to manage very challenging tasks today, which is for all of us to be really present, to be active, to connect, to get to know better one another, and to learn together, because really this is another great opportunity to learn and to think and to reflect upon our own modes or manners or style in critical thinking, and also to increase our teaching capacities and improve our teaching capacities, which is, as you can see in the next slide, one of our main aims of the training. Also, we would like to provide as much as possible tools and methodologies needed to integrate critical thinking principles into teaching practices in all our different fields and contexts, and strengthen practical skills for digital and blended learning. This will be the focus very much of tomorrow's session. These were our aims, and please bear with us and contribute and help us come to realization of them, because it is our common interest, isn't it, to use these 2 days in the best possible way. But you also were kind enough to express expectations within application forums. And I would kindly ask Nicola to remind us, what do you expect from us? Nicola?
Thank you. You already did your expectation in application form for this training, and we try to analyze and try to see if we can fulfill your expectations. And based on agenda and what we prepare for you, we are pretty sure that we can fulfill the majority of your expectations. And as you can see, you as a group expect from us to get innovative and practical methods, to apply different teaching approaches, and to learn new approaches in teaching critical thinking, integrating critical thinking in your teaching practices, or in general your practices also in everyday life and your working life, in different fields, to learn a little bit more about nano and micro learning, and different digital tools. And something which is for sure will be our approach in this training, collaborative and different kind of perspectives, exchanging views, and work together and do networking and reflection together. For sure that we prepare this kind of program, and it will be really interesting in this hybrid mode to exchange all of these ideas, reflections, and views between the physical space, all of us here, and you in digital virtual classroom. And now we will start with introduction of each of us.
Thank you, Nicola. So it is really one of the key things and elementary things to know better who we are, who is in the room and who is online. So what we are going to do now, it is to kindly ask you to briefly introduce yourself. And as you can see in the slide, we will ask you to give us your name, profession, field of research or work, and then please think briefly a little bit and come with one sentence of your life credo or professional motto that guides you through your career or through your life. What is one sentence? It can be saying, it can be motto that you like from literature, it can be something that you invented, but what is that one thing that really guides you through your professional or private life? For example, let me just give you an idea. I am Violeta Orlovic from Faculty of Philosophy, University of Belgrade. I'm researching and teaching in the field of adult learning and environmental and sustainability education. I strongly believe that teacher can always learn a lot from their students or participants of some courses or other educational programs. And later on, we are going to come back to these sentences. So once you state it, now within the introduction, please remember or record it, because during the day we are going to go back to them. So if it is okay, I would suggest that our colleagues from in online environment start introducing themselves by alphabetical order of countries they come from, maybe. And then we are all in the room, we are going to be M, if you agree, as Montenegro. Can we do that? A, B, C, D, E. Please.
Maybe you say the names, because we don't know actually who is before or after us. So maybe you read the list and just say the name and we present ourselves.
Okay, all right. So Nicola will help me with that.
At the screen, we can see Sandra first, but before I can say I already introduced myself, as I believe that constant social change is the way of progress in our society. Now I can see that Sandra is the next one.
Sandra, please, can we hear you?
Yes. Good morning to everybody. My name is Sandra Kradević-Pavelić from University of Rijeka, Faculty of Health Studies. I'm coordinating this project, and thank you very much, all of you that joined, for supporting us and being with us in this interesting workshop today. I wish to say hello also to everybody in Montenegro, and thank you for hosting this event as well and organizing, which was not an easy task. My main field of expertise and interest in science is biomedicine, drug development, zeolite research, and nutrition. And what I can say as a credo from my side is that knowledge is something that guides us the best in our lives. And it's also something that keeps us safe in our often passionate encounter of all life experiences and the world. So it's never enough. It's never enough knowledge to achieve and to have. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be next.
Maria, maybe.
Excellent, please. Maria.
We have strong microphonic because we are together in the office. So I'm Maria Spevan. I'm also from Faculty of Health Studies in Rijeka. I'm very glad that I'm part and collaborator in this project NANO-THINK, and thank you everyone for being here today.
I can continue.
Sorry, excuse me, just we didn't hear Maria's credo, if possible.
I think that maybe
if you don't have it now,
maybe
you can come with that later on during the training. Okay. All right? Okay, thank you. Sorry, is that Željko?
Yes.
Okay,
hello, everybody.
Please.
My name is Željko Jovanović. I'm professor of pharmacology and public health at Faculty of Health Studies in Rijeka. I'm vice dean for science and business affairs. And my credo is that education is power and health is wealth. And all of us working in that way, that all of us be more powerful and more healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. We already feel much more powerful. So who will be the next, please?
Please, can I be the next?
Yes, sure.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for opportunity to participate in this conversation. My name is Leila Jelovic, and I'm also from University of Rijeka, from the Faculty of Health Studies. My research area is educational physics primarily, but I also at this faculty teach statistics and subject that is primarily oriented at mathematics. As my main research topic right now is investigation of students' understanding of some main topics of solid state physics, for example, main features of semiconductors. And my doctoral thesis is all about this. I hope at some future meeting, I would be able to present my results. Thank you all. And once again, thank you for organization of this interesting meeting. Greetings from Rijeka, sunny Rijeka, Croatia.
Thank you, Rijeka. Greetings from sunny Podgorica as well. If you have in mind one of your life credos, you can share it now, or you can do it later. Leila?
Well, my main motto is physics is for all. I think it's very important now in this of our present, because physics is subject that in our future educational forms will disappear and become part of science. So I want to for students to become aware that physics is subject about nature, about our primary laws of life, not only of science, and that all of part of physics, primarily through Newton's law, can be can be are applicable in everyday's life. That's my main motto. Physics for all.
Thank you. That sounds great, especially for us from social sciences, I think. Okay, next, please.
Can I go? Krešimir Pavelić is my name. I am a medical doctor, and my field of research is personalized medicine, molecular oncology, and nanomedicine. I am now retired, but still active, and my credo is to be kind, tolerant, and effective. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hear about it more later. Who would like to be the next?
I can be the next one. My name is Mihaela Tinca Udriștioiu. I'm from the Department of Physics, Faculty of Sciences, University of Craiova. My research is mainly in air pollution, monitoring, finding sensors for different pollutants, also making prediction and forecasting. My credo, I believe in the power of networking because it's important to be always connected with people and in the power of education, of course. So I want to say thank you for the invitation to participate in this course. Maria made a lot of advertisement for this project. And I hope that we will spend a few hours. I hope that it will be a helpful event for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope our hours will go very fast for all of us. So please, who would like to be the next?
I can be the next.
Please.
Hi, I'm Federica Zano, and I'm from University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. I'm a doctoral student right now and researching in the area of physical geography, erosion risk related with the climate change and ecotourism. Actually, I've never think about credo, but it's very interesting this exercise actually because it makes you think what you really believe in this world, and I think that cooperation between everyone is the most important thing for me right now. And thank you very much for this course.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask someone who would like to be the next. Maybe Nicola can choose one name, please.
First of all, I would like to thank Ebru for writing in the chat. All of us can read her introduction. And I would like to invite Radmila to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be a part of the meeting and the training. I'm, for the moment, engaged like an external researcher by the company B Solution. I'm a PhD student at the University of Montenegro, Faculty of Maritime Studies, Kotor, and I have been engaged like a teaching assistant for 12 years, mostly dealing with technical and technological courses like marine fuels, lubricants and water, and the courses related to the environmental protection field. So the PhD thesis is mostly focused on the research of the cruise ship impact on the air quality in the Bay of Kotor. And this training was specifically interested for myself since the last period I'm mostly interested on the improving of my soft skills as a teacher and someone who was directly related to the education of a students. I have also experiences in educating students in English, so the first master program, joint one, accredited at the faculty related to the marine environmental protection and management, started 2 years ago, and we already have students preparing their master studies. So it's very interesting for myself to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And please, if we make mistakes in English, you forgive us today. Okay, I would like to ask next colleague to come and introduce themselves, please.
I can start.
Please.
Yeah, hello. My name is Karin Schmitzer-Laudek. I'm from the Medical University of Graz in Austria at the Division of Physiology and Pathophysiology. We are happy to be partner in the NANO-THINK project, and I'm very happy to work with Tamara and Sandra, who are really very kind persons, and I'm happy to get to know them. My main focus here at the university is teaching on the one hand and guiding PhD students. So that is more or less the main focus, where we are also analyzing research projects within the PhD thesis of our candidates. And yeah, my life credo, I don't know, making most of the people around me happy maybe, and that in return comes back, I think.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, I think
Thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you for being part of it.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I think I see Dragana Naumovic there. So can I ask her kindly to introduce briefly, please?
Hello. Hello, everybody. Just a moment. I coming from Belgrade, from University of Belgrade, actually, Nikola Tesla Institute of Electrical Engineering. It's really my pleasure, and I'm very happy to be part of this project and also this training. I think that critical thinking is very important in my field of interest. It's measurement science. That is, I am head of calibration laboratory, and also a quality manager of 9 laboratories that exist in my institute. And critical thinking is very specially important to field of calibration, testing, and conformity assessment. Our main task is providing continuously traceability to the national standard of Serbia and also international standards. So be critical and thinking critically. It's very important in my job and job of my colleagues. Thank you.
All right. Please, can we go on with our colleagues from online site? Just briefly, name, field. Both of you have. If you don't, we can hear it later. Don't worry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, my name is Meryem Cansu Şahin, and I'm from Uşak University, and I'm working about radiation shielding and medical physics, and I would like to join this session to learn how to improve critical thinking skills for research and for education my students. Thank you.
Thank you. So we didn't hear still a lot of colleagues. I see Nevena Malešević or Kata Ivanišević if she's present. Okay. They are busy introducing themselves to someone else, maybe. Are we frozen? No, you can hear me well. Okay. So if you do not hear anyone else at the moment from online environment, can I kindly ask colleagues from the room here to start introducing themselves? And then please, if someone would like to introduce from online site later on when we finish, we will ask you to do that. Okay, now I will ask Maya to start. Thank you.
My name is Madra Kijigergur. I'm coming from University of Donja Gorica. I'm an economist, the Dean of the Faculty for International Economics, Finance and Business. And this is quite useful topic for myself. I believe no matter what your research interests are, thinking critically is of essential importance, not only for our students, but for us as well. Regarding this life motto, I would say watch, observe, and take your opportunities. If not, you have to create them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mirza, would you agree?
Hello to everybody. My name is Mirza Žižek. I'm coming from School of Medicine, University of Zagreb, but in this project, I'm a part of International Academy of Science and Arts of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And my part in this project is to help designing and introducing new innovative way of teaching in our in a teaching generally. And my credo would be, it's never late to learn something new, especially in this time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikolina Brajovic. I'm coming from B Solutions. Also by vocation, I'm economist, and by passion, I'm a project manager. My credo is always go one step further. So sometimes it's a small step, sometimes it's a big step, but always do some kind of the progress, and definitely with these new methods, innovative things and critical things we can make a step further also in our professional and in private life.
Thank you. Go on, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sara Damic. I'm from the International Birch University, and I'm currently a teaching assistant at the Department of Genetics and Bioengineering. I'm also a final year PhD student, and the field is cell culture and chemistry. And when it comes to my credo is, I believe like failure is a key point in succeeding. So if you don't fail, you don't really learn things, how they really work. And without failure, you cannot really be an expert in your field, I would say. That's it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vladimira Yusufovic, and I work as laboratory assistant at the International Birch University. I'm a PhD student as well, and my thesis, my actually research is mostly related to the field of microbiology, and that would be it. Thank you. I don't have right now, but maybe later on, if it is okay.
Sure, if it is okay. Can you please continue?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sladina Grbovic, and I'm coming from University of Donja Gorica. By vocation, I'm an economist, but I work in external audit. This topic is very interesting to me because in external audit, it is extremely, let's say, important to use the critical thinking and to enhance it as much as possible.
And it's also important to learn the younger colleagues to use it as much as possible. For the credo, my credo is actually, it's easy to follow the beaten path, but it's more important to create your own. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello from me as well. My name is Maja Jončaj. I come from the University of Donja Gorica. I'm here as a teaching assistant, as a researcher, young researcher, and as a PhD student. My PhD studies are more regarding like economic and culture. And when it comes to my credo in life, it could be regarding academia, life in general. It's like everything happens for a reason and everything comes back to you, whether it's good or bad. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. From my side, my name is Adna Softic, and I work as a researcher and a project manager in the Developed Research Institute for Biomedical Engineering, Medical Devices, and Artificial Intelligence in Sarajevo. And as well, I am a PhD student at University of Siena in the field of medical biotechnologies. My credo is actually that every one of us is the agent of change, and we choose what that change will be. So that's it. Thank you.
Sounds promising. Thank you, Adna. Please.
Hello. Yes, my name is Jelena Hramni. I'm currently working on the NANO-THINK project on the Faculty of Health Studies at University of Rijeka as an administrator. But by profession, I'm a lawyer, but with many years of experience in education, from preschool to higher education. And by credo, we will see tomorrow. Okay. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Tamara Crnko. I'm also from University of Rijeka, from Faculty of Health Studies, and I work as an assistant project coordinator on this project. My background is in philosophy. So I have a PhD in philosophy, and my field of research is moral and political philosophy, or more narrowly, philosophy of migration. But I also am interested in the critical studies and other fields. Now, I do honestly believe what Adna said really resonates with me as well, and what others were saying. I do believe that there is a real power in knowledge when it comes to changing the world. But I especially lately believe that we can't do any of this without compassion and kindness.
Thank you very much. But knowledge and attitudes are so important for learning and for critical thinking. Now we go to our colleague on the left.
Thank you. My name is Danilo Popovic. I'm coming from University of Donja Gorica as well, and I'm an entrepreneur. Been one of the pioneers of HR industry here in Montenegro. From this training, I have big expectations actually, because in today's age of all the fake news and all the fuss from AI and that content which you cannot separate real from fake, I think this course will be very useful for each and every one of us. And regarding the credo, I will add up to what one of our colleagues said previously, the quote from Winston Churchill, saying that successful means going from failure to failure without losing the enthusiasm. So that's it.
Thank you. We want to call it heroic failures, I think. We have one more person in this room that just arrived. So I would kindly ask you, hello, to just briefly say your
Just to
name.
introduce myself for a bit.
Yes.
My name is Anya Bushkovic, and I'm from the Faculty of International Economics, Finance and Business. Should I tell you more about myself? Or...
We also share our life mottos or credos. If you don't have one at this moment, it's okay. You can share it later on during the
Well, the biggest life motto for me is just to always keep going, no matter what.
All right, that was so easy. Thank you very much. Okay, if anybody from online environment wants to introduce yourself, please do it now, or we can do it during the day. Or, of course, you can write your name and motto and profession in the chat. So thank you all. I hope you could hear all introductions from the room, colleagues from online part. Was it more easier for you to follow when you were when people from online environment were introducing themselves, or it was the same? What was the feeling? Would anybody like to share?
Also, you can to express what are the feelings. We don't need to always ask for the presenting or talking. That's also a way how we can interact.
Yes, there is no need to verbalize all the time, but thank you, Nicola. You can use emoticons. Okay, so this sharing, this introduction at the beginning is somehow very common for trainings when we are all together in a room, and we value that in our teaching also. And it sometimes lasts, and sometimes maybe we think, okay, why do we do it now? But it is our motto, at least our adult learning school and Faculty of Philosophy really respects that opportunity, for that need for everyone to introduce themselves, so that we try to get to know one another during the time of the training or class or any other program. And then we think it is much easier for us to openly share, to think together, to cooperate. So I hope you agree, or if you disagree, we can discuss that, of course. And also one other thing that I would invite you to think now and to concentrate on is what do you think is expressed with our credo? Why did we start from that, talking about critical thinking? If anybody wants to comment on that or provide your opinion, you can either write or tell or think, tell later. If anybody wants to comment now, you are very welcome.
Okay, I would start.
Nicolina, please.
Also, from my opinion, now it's a little bit strange because I'm looking for the people here in the room and also you in the Zoom. From my opinion, our credo reveals a lot about us. What drives us through the life? What are our values, aspirations, who we are deep inside of us. So that's in one or two sentences, you can reveal a lot of from some person just knowing the credo of the motto.
Thank you very much, Nicolina. Anybody else, maybe? Please, Daniel.
My opinion is that we started with Credo because I believe that we have to question everything. So even our own deepest personal beliefs, to put the question mark on them and to see whether that's the real deal or not. This is how I perceive your question.
Thank you very much.
I believe
Please,
that
go
our
on.
credo reflects somehow our life experience, what helps us during life, what helps us to get up when we were down. And I said that networking is very important for me, but also opportunities that helped me a lot. And I can give you an example. I'm double winner of a Fulbright Research Scholar. So I tried 3 times until I obtained the first one. But after this experience that brought me a lot of benefits, it was much easier to write the second application. So life experience is give us our credo, our professional experience.
Thank you very much. So what we've heard from these three valuable experiences or comments is that credo is something that reflects our deep beliefs, our perspectives, and our experience. So thank you very much for that. You are all right. And this is something that is so important for critical thinking, isn't it? When you base your attitudes, your critical stance, your behavior, your life decisions on your beliefs, then you, of course, realize how important it is, as Danilo said, to be aware of that, to be aware not only of your experiences, but also on beliefs that drives you through life, through your decisions, and more or less, if we stick to our beliefs and to our values, we are probably more happy in our lives, and if we do not feel that is endangered. Also, when we indulge ourselves in critical thinking, we would easily come to realize that it is so much based on our beliefs. And probably that is why we are differing that much. That is why we have different opinions. But if we start from believing in that everybody's perspective counts, then I think we will be open and ready for critical thinking, exercise, and behavior in our life. So that's why we are going to continue with beliefs here. And now we have one exercise for you all. And we are going to do, because we are in two environments, learning environments here, we are going to go through that exercise in two ways. For you who are online, please use the link that Nicola is just sending for Mentimeter. And we are going to go step by step, question by question. And I will read the question. After that, please, those who are online, just answer yes or no through Mentimeter. And for colleagues in the room, I would like to do one morning exercise. So when you think the yes is answer, please stand up. And for those who think no is answer, please remain sitting. So are we ready? Okay, so the first statement, as you can see, is a critical thinker is someone who always split hairs. Okay. So yes or no? For those who think yes, please stand up. A critical thinker is someone who always split hairs. Okay, nobody in the room thinks, chooses yes. Can we see what happens online? Okay, as I see, there is one person claiming that this is, that the answer is yes, that critical thinker is someone who always split hairs. Okay, can we please ask the person who responded yes to comment on it? Why do you think critical thinker is behaving that way? Anybody? Okay, then we will go to easier things. So can we hear from someone from the room? Why do you think this is not the case with real critical thinker? Just give your assumption.
I'm just speaking from the perspective of philosopher because for us they always say we're just splitting hair. I mean, it sounds like a negative thing, and critical thinking should be a positive one. And you can also split hairs just for the sake of splitting hairs, but that would not be the point of critical thinking, from my opinion.
Excellent. May I add something? I believe that critical thinkers are not looking at the particularity when we speak about philosophy, but they have a broad picture in their head, and they are, thinking about processes that are going on from this broader picture. That is my opinion, and that's why they are not splitting hairs, but doing completely opposite thing.
Thank you. Okay, now we have two persons saying yes. Is anybody willing to share why?
They write in the chat, so there is in the chat.
Nicola will read the chat.
Yeah, Marco said to us that it's a positive thing to split hair, because he answered yes, and that we can talk right now, and yeah, that it's every little point, especially in business, sometimes it's could play a significant role.
Okay, interesting point. All right, I think we can go to the next statement and then do similar exercise to hear why do you think it is pro or cons. So critical thinking develops spontaneously during schooling and does not need to be fostered through special educational programs. So it develops spontaneously, and we do not need specialized educational programs in order to develop it. Yes or no? They try to balance here and to both stand up and remain seated if you don't see it from online perspective.
It depends on the schooling, what kind of school you are going at. It really depends on that. So basically, our public school, I believe that is the case in all countries of the region, is doing the opposite things. We are being learned to memorize, to replicate things, to obey. That's true. And on the other side, now you have many more school, and I think that private initiative is something that is very good for society, that happens in all countries of the region. And with different educational models, you have your kids either encouraged or stopped to be curious and to develop some kind of critical thinking. If you say there is no questions in school, which is basically the general motto of public schools in Montenegro, I'm speaking about Montenegro, no questioning of anything, no doubts, no raising a question, then you cannot develop a critical thinking. And it pretty much develops on the public opinion and media and things like that. And that is like a topic for many, many debates, not only here. So in general, you had people who developed their critical thinking even in that kind of school, but they are not majority. They are very few of those people.
Thank you, Maya, very much. You made very important point for critical thinking, really, which is questioning all the time. And we are going to go back to that point and to the methods that we can use in teaching in order to stimulate not only questioning, but to start contribute to opening of minds of our learners and our own. And you made very important. You came with very illustrative example as well. So thank you for that.
Can I just add something?
Mm-hmm.
For my opinion, this critical thinking should be part of educational program because now using AI because which become I couldn't say part of our life, but becoming part of our life, and taking everything with some distance or with some zdravi razum, common sense. It's so important. So having some special educational program, it's very important. And this project is one of these steps going toward that. So in future, we really need that developing in elementary school and then further.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think we have Dragana now.
Yes, I would like to add something. The ordinary schooling usually doesn't fostering open-minded thinking. So I think that critical thinking as a method, it's very important to be part of the our schools, especially in higher education, because as Mirza say, as Mirza said, the nowadays industrial and virtual instrumentations, artificial intelligence, which we use every day, could be mač sa dve oštrice. I don't know how to say in English.
Okay, Nicola helps us. It could be double sword.
Yes, could be double sword.
Could be helpful and risky also.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dragana, very much for your contribution. We have yes or no's, and we will come back to that later. So now I suggest we go on with next one. There's no place for emotions in the process of critical thinking.
Mhm.
So
it's not easy to answer.
Oh, can we say yes or no, or we skip this one? Everybody is sitting here, so they disagree, obviously. Also, our online community disagrees as far as I see. Okay, so please, very briefly, why? Why are emotions so important? Because we say we think critically, it is about reasoning, it is about logic, it is about mental, cognitive processes. Why emotions? Our beliefs, cognitive structures.
Maybe I could.
Please.
Maybe I can answer that because I'm so into emotional intelligence and everything about that. And I always said like the only thing that makes me a human nowadays is emotional intelligence. And I don't want to not use my emotions and my feelings when I decide about anything, because that is what makes me different from AI and other people that are using AI. So I think that we cannot just turn off our emotions in any kind of process if we are humans.
Please. Thank you, Adna. Nicolina?
By many researchers, and we can all confirm that but our body, mind, and emotions are the one system. So we cannot function normally, or we cannot perceive other person with excluding something. So we have our mind, something that maybe in this moment we think it's a critical thinking, our body, because and our emotions, because if we are not emotionally good, it reflects on our body, on our metabolic stuffs in the body, and that reflects on our mind. So in any case, I think that it's impossible to exclude 100% emotions from any kind of the process. So there should be some place for emotions in the process of the critical thinking, because it's the overall system. It cannot, it's like a car. You have an engine, but you need to have a fuel and the tires if you want to go from one place to another. So it's interconnected so much that I think that it's impossible to exclude something completely.
Thank you very much. Mirza raised his hand, but I would like first, Mirza, if you allow me to ask Nicola to read some sentences from the chat, something that you expressed from online community, please.
Yeah, Michaela said to us that we are subjective, and this means to be human, and it's aligned to what we are hearing also here in the room.
Thanks a lot. Mirza, you want to say something?
I just want to say, if you believe in something, and all our critical opinion or critical thinking or something, it comes from our believings or knowledge. And if you believe, you couldn't move emotion from that, because how can you talk of something that you don't believe or that you don't feel deeply in yourself? And that comes emotion from.
Okay, so when you look at the presenters or lecturers or politicians, think please about this. Can we talk about something that we do not believe in? And we are going to come back to that also. And what happens there? Are we emotionally happy or not when we do that? Think about it. And now I suggest we go to the next. Critical and creative thinking are mutually exclusive. Yes or no? Okay, no, no, no. Okay, please write in chat or come with one explanation, maybe why, comment.
Critical thinking is giving us an idea for creative thinking. When you notice that there is something wrong, you will find a solution. So basically, you have to think creatively if you think critically.
Okay, so
I believe that they foster each other, not exclude each other.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Any different thoughts?
What is that?
Boris, can we ask you maybe for something more than yes?
Yeah, I seem to be the only one who said no here.
Don't worry, don't worry.
I think there are very important two different processes of two different phases of the same process in research and science. So we have to switch back and forth from creativity and then get back to criticism of our own actions and of the results that we are receiving. So they are not exclusive in terms that they cannot coexist in the process of research and science and creativity and being critical, but they cannot exist at the same time in the same process. This is just perhaps my personal vision. You can of course dispute me on this with other arguments, but I see them as different phases that are interchanging in this activity.
Thank you very much. We will come back to that soon. Thank you, Boris. Thank you, everybody. And I suggest we go to the last sentence here, which says critical thinking is the same as formal logical thinking. Yes or no?
And also we have in chat another input that first people exclude from a group will be those who are very critical, and creativity need a bit of encouragement.
Okay, interesting. So, anybody? We don't have yes here. Critical thinking is the same as formal. So we don't think is the same. So,
may I give an example?
Please do.
For example, an experiment could be very logical, but not true. The results are wrong, for example.
Yes, so we do not have a content or context that matters there. We only follow the procedure.
Sometimes we do the topic logically and thinking logically, but the result is different. And the critical thinking is a key have a key role in that example.
Thank you very much for all your contributions. Usually when we are teaching, I think all of us, we use this approach. We ask people to first express their own opinion on some matters, and then we kind of summarize. We kind of come with the explanations or possible answers from the literature. We borrowed these sentences reflecting different possible opinions about critical thinking, and these explanations by our colleague from Institute of Psychology from Faculty of Philosophy. They published one manual once upon a time, and later on in slides you will have complete reference of this book. We are thankful to them. They are dealing with culture of critical thinking in their publication. And what is good news is that all of you were right. Those of you who thought, who selected yes or no as answer. How come? Really, when we express our opinion, there would always be someone who agrees and who disagrees. And this, I think, illustrates very much that. Why? It is complex phenomenon, critical thinking, and we can always look at in other specific or particular factors why something is positive or negative, or why we agree or disagree with something. What literature says, just in brief, I would provide you with brief reminder. Why critical thinker can be someone who always split hairs. When we want to come with some decision using critical thinking, or when we want to critically approach some content, we have to divide it into some parts. We have to use very much our ability to be very analytic, to split some complex phenomenon in order to realize what are parts of some bigger thing. And in that way, we can say that one is really splitting hairs there and looking for some very minor details, which sometimes are not minor at all. And if we disagree with that, we can say, okay, this sentence is really problematic because we really do not want to look at critical thinker like someone who is searching for trivial details, but for important thing in that process, something similar to what Tamara said before. Then we can always think yes or no also for the sentence if critical thinking develops spontaneously. There are different research in psychology of education, in adult learning and education at all, and they were dealing with the transfer within the teaching process, whether we can apply some content that we learn in some very different situation. And for critical thinking, some research findings say that general programs for developing of critical thinking competence can help, but if it is context-free, if it doesn't rely on very specific knowledge from that particular field, then it is really problematic to expect that if you go through one program that develops general thinking, critical thinking competencies, that you are going to be good enough in some other field when you need to apply. So it is related to context, and it is also something that not necessarily needs very specific training on critical thinking per se, but it is very important for others who agree with this sentence to provide opportunity for teachers to improve their critical thinking skills. And therefore, we can talk about some specialized trainings, maybe similar to this one or others that first of all call for all involved in education to prioritize this in their teaching, to integrate it in their teaching, never mind if never mind what discipline is that. And also we will come later to that, but that contextuality and social relevance of critical thinking is very important, as Dragan also reminded us previously. Then about emotions, yes, you all agreed that you disagree with that. Emotions have different roles here in process of critical thinking. They really can interfere our thinking, our reasoning. But as long as we are aware of that, we shouldn't have problems with critical thinking, with accepting others' perspective, respecting it and expressing our attitudes there. Emotions here can be a stimulus for us to react critically, or they can block us. There is something that is called, from that affective side, a critical attitude, or our ability and readiness to be critical. Sometimes it really depends on how do we control our emotions, or how do we see ourselves, and more other factors from our family, from our uprising, from our context, and so on. Sometimes we are just kind of person who doesn't express themselves openly very easy. So sometimes emotions can block us, and sometimes it can stimulate us to come and to express what we think. And also, some of only Boris reacted that this sentence is true. Critical and creative thinking are mutually exclusive. Yes, you are both right. Critical creativity can be maybe some phase of critical thinking process, or they can come together. But there is one thing about creativity they say that doesn't match very well in what we think when we say critical thinking, and it is that free production, which we have in our processes of creation. For instance, do we have someone who wants to comment or no? Just we heard some voices. Okay, thank you. I think we are all very familiar with that brainstorming exercises, and you know that we first produce something. We have some problem to solve or some idea that we want to creatively discuss about, and then what we ask people, it is very common in marketing, I think we all know that. We ask people, okay, now come with all the associations, with all the possible solutions that you think can help to find solution for this problem. And then after we have all those production products of thinking, then we have, okay, now let's see, let's make classification, let's come to some reasonable solution of this problem. So we have both creative and that cognitive process that we can apply in creative thinking. And critical thinking is the same as phonological thinking. As we know, we have to use logic in order to come with arguments, to assess arguments, to see whether something is, as we discuss here, true and false in our opinion. But then also we need something much more. And as Dragan reminded us, we can have great mechanic, technical, formal procedure applied, but if it is free of context and free of content, then we can have a trouble. Okay, if there are no more comments, reactions to this, I thank you very much for your contributions, and now I'll give the floor to my colleague Nicola.
Thank you. I will open a presentation in that mode because we need to see your interactions in chat and in speaking. And now we are going to explore a little bit more about testing of critical thinking. Do you have any experience with critical thinking tests? And what is your opinion about testing critical thinking? Why we are doing that? In which kind of occasions we are using tests for critical thinking?
Critical thinking itself or in your area?
Itself. It's like skill of critical thinking. No. There is a bunch of tests for critical thinking, and it's really popular in United States, Great Britain, and it's usually the universities, Western universities, the best one using those tests, because they believe that if you are commit your critical thinking skills in your thinking or learning, that the possibility that you will be successful in some educational program will be higher. Yeah, Sandra.
Sandra contributed to this in chat. She says they use this testing when we develop an experimental question and design experiment. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the second thing. When we are doing some kind of programs and we would like to assess there is some changes in critical thinking, we are doing those tests before and after the program to see if there is some changes. And the research in that field shows that we need at least 1 month of some educational programs that we can see changes in critical thinking, especially in domain of skills. And now I would like to present some parts or some examples of questions in test of Watson-Glasser test. One is the most famous test. There is a lot other tests, but they are working more or less similarly. And now you can see that there is the Watson-Glasser test is testing 5 areas, which is really reminds us on logical skills, applying our logical skills to see how we are construct ideas. And what is specific for this kind of tests, and which is really interesting, that you need to try to switch off your previous experiences or knowledge. You are not accessing the truth of the statements, but the logical structures within the statements. And now we will see that. And the second thing in this test that is also you have a limited time to done the test as any other psychological test which assess any kind of skills or abilities. And at the end, we could use those tests for teaching purposes. We can expose our learners to this kind of questions and see how they're responding, and put in our domains of topics and subjects and try to see how they're accessing the ideas through this kind of task. Now we can see the one domain, the task from one domain, which is recognition of assumption. You can read the instruction first, and then we will see the task. You can see a task now. It's really simple and short. What do you think? What is the right answer? Because in test, only one answer is correct. Is it assumption made from those statements or not? We got one opinion that was not the previous one. I believe it's not.
One answer says assumption.
Yeah, we got 2 assumption made. Okay, if there is no other inputs, the correct answer is assumption made. And again, it's really difficult to, especially if you are in that field, to think about these statements without accessing your opinion or your knowledge about managerial things. And all of this task is made like that. You need to remove your knowledge, previous experiences, and just access the logical structure of the statements. And before, the first statement said that there is some connections, and then the proposed assumption said exactly that. We can see another type of question. Deduction is the main which we are going to see the task for. You can see the task now. What you think? Conclusion follows or does not follow? Do you remember this kind of task in school? We had it a lot at the class of philosophy.
In high school.
We got in chat opinion that not follow. Yeah, the answer is conclusion does not follow the statement before. Okay, we can see the third section, evaluation of arguments, which is the biggest part of the critical thinking. Many theories and authors do this kind of things, evaluation of arguments, put in the center of their definitions. Now we are assessing the strength of argument. Is the argument weak or not, or strong? Now we can see the task for evaluation of argument. You should decide is that argument which follows the statement is strong argument or weak argument based on the statement before. Yeah, we got in chat weak and also in room. And the right answer is the argument is weak. If you would like to see the simulation of this test, because all of this test is really expensive to apply in your field, and some of those are not available in paper edition. One of cheaper one, it's Cornell test, Watson-Glasser test. Usually you can use through some servers and in online format. But at that link below, you can find a simulation of the test, much more questions for each of these areas which test access. Do you have any comments on this test? What you think? What is the definition of critical thinking if we are doing this kind of proof of assessing critical thinking by this kind of test? What could be the definition of critical thinking? What aspects of critical thinking is covering when we remember the questions before we answer? Is it based on emotions, logic, school knowledge? Yeah, in the room we got answer logic, and yeah, we can see now the classification of different definitions of critical thinking. And Glasser, Ennis, and other authors said that it's general ability to perform and apply operations of micro and micro character, which means that it's really a logical skill, which is totally independent from our experience and knowledge. But then we have other group of authors which said that the knowledge and our domain, it's really important. We cannot access critically the topic of medicine if we are not in the medicine field or law or any other kind of fields. And then there is a third group of authors which says that we need to combine the both. We need to have a skill of critical thinking and apply in the rich environment of our knowledge in some certain domain. And we had also the fourth group of thinkers and scientists, which we like the most in adult education. It's Brookfield and Jack Naziro and Stephen Brookfield. They are saying that critical thinking is based on our previous experiences, and especially the questioning and reflection of our experiences, and also doing the assumptions about others' opinions. And that's the thing, that it's validation of what has been learned, and it's a good opportunity for transformation. And as we saw before in discussion, the creativity is a part of critical thinking, and it could be divided sometimes in different phases. Also, the other philosophers of education says that we need to be critical if we would like to produce something new, because from the critics we are making a space for new ideas, and that's the explanation how we are doing the different phases of critical thinking. And there is also one really important aspect of critical thinking, that there is, we are should not speak only about the skill, but also dispositions. What is our abilities? What is our other way of thinking? It's important to learn and gain the skill, but at the same time, if we are not open to be open towards new ideas, we could not apply that skill. We are not eager to think critically. And as you see, there is different the test, and when we are understand critical thinking and this as a skill, there is different areas which those tests measures. This is induction, deduction, credibility, identifying assumptions, prediction in planning experiments, and it's really important part of critical thinking. But from another way of looking at that phenomenon, we should think about our dispositions, like self-efficacy, openness, attentiveness, organization. If we are not organized well, it's impossible to think critically, or we will need much more time to organize our ideas if we are a messy kind of thinker. And at this link, you could find a QR code, some example of critical thinking disposition scale. I choose to present you here just one short scale with two factors, which is access our critical openness and reflective skepticism. In the slide, you can see what that means. Critical openness is open to new ideas, and reflective skepticism that we have a tendency to learn from one's past experiences. And as you know, from everyday interactions and experiences, it's usually not the case that we are open to question our ideas and also learn from others. There is a lot of things which is somehow not open us for this kind of thinking, this kind of behavior. And that's pretty enough for now. Yeah. We will do one small exercise before coffee break.
Okay, thank you, Nico, very much. I was thinking with this yes or no and these true and false answers, how is it for our poor students when they do tests and they have to say yes or no? Very often, as we know, we ask for some knowledge. I mean, we have to. And of course, it builds all those exercises and tests should build their knowledge, which is necessary for critical thinking. We are going to also read and discuss that question later on, but some authors say if we do not know about something, how can we critically think about that content? So it is obviously composition, critical thinking, as we know, is phenomenon comprised of all those, as Nicola presented briefly, knowledge and skills and dispositions, and we illustrated that very briefly through this journey. And now we will, before our coffee break that you saw brief picture about, we decided to do one more exercise, if you are ready. It is about finding text that belongs to idea of the author, and author is our famous Charles Darwin. And this is from his book On the Origin of Species, from Legendary Book. And I would kindly ask you all to please read these paragraphs and to try to find what sentences do not really belong to Darwin, which are not consistent with Darwin's idea on species that is elaborated here. So what are sentences that are here introduced in order to confuse poor readers and how we can perceive it? This is about critical reception of the text.
So if I may jump in.
Yes, please.
There is a fallacy in thinking that we actually understand the process of evolution and natural selection here. So both premises driven here assume the ultimate knowledge of physical processes that are driving these features in certain species. So until we are absolutely certain and we investigate all possible angles of benefits and harms that a certain feature is bringing, we should not be driving such bold and ultimate statements here. And I think both are in a way wrong. There is zero support in actual arguments and evidence here for the both statements. I know Darwin provided a lot of examples and also Paley But the truth here that the statements themselves here are separated, lack support of actual evidence. And I think that is the case, and even if you look at the evidence themselves. So you have to go from case to case.
Okay, thank you, Boris. Let's imagine that we don't know that much about biology or physics or other important areas here, or medical sciences. As you know, there are biologists among you, there are medical scientists, technical scientists, and so on. So try to exclude that for a moment and try to just follow the logic of the arguments. What is wrong here? What sentences do not belong to this? Starting from that we agree with the main idea of Darwin's, which is expressed here in the text. Will anybody else try, please? What sentences seem opposed to what Darwin really thought about how our organs help us in surviving through our lives. Congratulations. Okay, does anybody think differently?
But there is more sentences which do not belongs to Darwin idea.
Okay, as authors of this exercise from the publication that I mentioned, which is cited here at the end of this text, claim Željko is right. It is if Darwin thinks that natural selection will never produce in any being structure that is more harmful than useful to it. So everything what is developed in our body should help us go through our lives and through evolution. But as we can see, other sentences that reflect other opinion are introduced here, incorporated here. If you read the sentence that say, during the process of natural selection, certain organs may develop that serve the interest of our enemy rather than those of their possessor. It's conflicting, as you would agree with first. So if all structures that we develop are useful to us, how come that it can be useful also to enemies? So something is wrong there. Even if we do not remember this content from our schooling, I think when we apply logic, it can it can seem odd to us, or we can think something is wrong. Then again, this is about Paley's view, but obviously that author agrees with Darwin when he says no organ exists for the purpose of causing pain or harm to its owners. If one were to weigh the good and the harm brought by each part of the body, one would find that every part is on the whole of some benefit. But suddenly we have totally different idea. We carry within us all the organs of our ancestors, and in fact possess an excess of organs which burdens our body, especially the circulatory system and the organs of secretion. I mean, for our colleagues from medical sciences, this would be very easy to discuss. But this is to come from Darwin's idea, not it is not about what we think about it, but just to find the logic. If something is incorporated here, then is wrong. What is your reaction to this text? Do we usually, when we meet this challenging situation that we have to read very carefully, I mean, in everyday experience, that we have to open our eyes very carefully and to really recognize when some idea is in opposition with some other. Can you come to some example? Or we do that all the time? Can we do that all the time? Do we need knowledge only or something more? Anybody? I know we are tired. We go to the break soon. Sandra?
Well, I don't know, it's almost every day if we follow some information, especially if somebody is reporting on some new scientific advances or outcomes from science or medicine or whatever field, then in the news, we often have this oppository statement. So it's like somebody wants to be said, but then you see that not all the information is correctly given and it's opposing sometimes each other in the news all the time. So you have one news and then an opposing news after that. This is something that I noticed that is growing in the recent 6-7 years as I follow. So it's a kind of double opposing information giving in the same news or I don't know, text or whatever you're reading. For example, just one example.
If I may add, that's also here.
Sure, please, Boris.
It's usually when we first hear a general conclusion about an outcome of an experiment or a theory, and then we hear an example. They try to provide very concrete examples, but the examples themselves contain contradiction or lack proper information. In those cases, when you're trying to be very precise in some things or try to pinpoint something, and then it turns out that you're losing the generality of your conclusion that you have driven in the start. Maybe this is the case here. They're first discussing in both of these paragraphs some general statements, and then they try to give very concrete examples of that, and they get lost in that process.
Yes, we are, when we are critical thinkers, we go to those details, and when we know more about something, obviously we are able to notice and to recognize what are things that are not well done in something. So thank you, Boris, for that. And we can discuss it, of course, much more. But for this exercise, it is the main message is just, of course, be careful and use your knowledge in order to think critically, because otherwise you cannot criticize the text itself, or you cannot recognize what is opposing idea. And not only in media, but as you know, very often we really have to consult different authors. That is must of scientific thinking, as I think all of us easily would agree. And very often when we teach critical thinking, what is a very good idea at all levels of schooling, and especially in higher education, is really, as we all do, to expose students to different opinions, to different school of theoretical schools, to opposing ideas, and then really to let them learn on all those ideas and let them also create their own preference about what they want to follow, and for them to be able to one day as scientists choose the school of thinking, or be able at least to say, okay, this author has right in this part, and in this part I really disagree with them. And that is hopefully the way how they not only develop critical thinking competence, but also hopefully new ideas and new theories. Why not? So when we again combine this critical thinking, this logic of thinking with creativity, then we can easily come to some completely new ideas while critically discussing and considering some ideas that we agree or disagree. And I hope we agree that we do that while teaching and that this is not easy. This can be challenging for all of us, and our role of teachers becomes here very complex. What we were doing from this morning until now, when we are approaching time for the coffee break, we were trying to present our approach, our vision of what strategies should we apply when we teach critical thinking, and not only to discuss different aspects of critical thinking. So we started from introduction of ourselves with expression of our beliefs. Then we discuss whether some beliefs are true or false in our opinion. Then we hopefully came to conclusion that one sentence can have positive and negative, or true and questionable part. And we agreed that that's the way we really develop critical thinking and critical attitude. Then we also could see that it is really not only about logic, about skills, but also about dispositions from Nicola's presentation. And then we offered some tools, some instruments that you can use yourself or with your students. Now we just illustrate what critical reception can mean with this text, and with that we would like to call the break, and we suggest that we do 20 or 30 minutes of break. 30 minutes we need? Okay, I suppose you need 30 minutes as well to relax, to hopefully have a coffee, and please come back at noon. We are going to be here waiting for you. Thank you. Hear me now? Okay, thank you very much. Speaking about real life and theoretical field, and about theory and practice, what we are trying in teaching very much in most of the cases when we can is to really relate both. And there are many methods. There is group of methods in teaching which helps us more than other methods to do that. Those are methods that simulate reality, or methods which takes some real content and design and modify it in context of our teaching. One of such a strategy is definitely case study, and I'm sure you use it in your fields. And please, after Nicola's presentation, if you feel like, come with some examples. How do you use case study in your teaching? Nicola?
We are coming back to the Stephen Brookfield, the author and thinker and adult educator, who is dealing with assessing the assumptions, and also his find a way how to assess critical thinking without test and in a peer review process. And the case study is one of those aspects. We could use it for teaching critical thinking, but as well as assessing tool, and do some kind of peer review. And in critical thinking, it's really important that we have some kind of critical reflection or critical mirror, someone who is challenging our assumptions. And case study is a perfect method for that. You could use it in many different ways, and you could construct the case according to your field and your way of thinking. You can adjust to your fields easily. Here we have one case related to the teaching situation and educational setting. We can read it together. It's one segment. It could be more developed, but we choose one short segment not to go too deep into the case. And what we could do with this kind of stories or case studies, the Stefan Brookfield proposed us to do together in the groups. Also, you can do by your own, but in groups it's more fruitful and more useful for critical thinking development. That we should ask what assumptions, explicit and implicit, do you think Victor is operating under in this situation? And we should try to list as many as we can. Now we can just a few of us to propose some kind of assumptions. For example, he thinks that maybe the students are not prepared for this kind of approach, and because of that it's not successful. This is one of assumption. Do you have in mind any other proposal of assumption? Mm-hmm.
So Victor is trying very hard to introduce these innovative methods in his way, and he tries his best, but he gets evaluation and exam results, and he realizes something is wrong, and that he didn't achieve what he wanted, that students' personal perspectives have not been reflected or re-examined, but rather they just adopted, just repeated what was presented. So he feels he failed. And what can he think? Why is that? That is that reflection that we as teachers do very often, or we should do very often, because if something is wrong in a class, what can we say? What can we find as a reason? We can say, oh, those students, they simply do not want to listen to me. Or we can say, maybe something I think I'm doing, but I not necessarily do. So Nicola came with one possible assumption. What other assumptions do we usually have in situations like this?
We have not used tools or approaches to involve students directly, so they remained only as listeners without personal involvement.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one possibility.
Also, the very first sentence, Victor believes that the purpose of teaching is the transformation of one's own perspective. It doesn't have to be, it's only his own belief. It's not the eternal truth, objective truth, so to speak.
Thank you. Now we are approaching to the third question or third part of that case study and assessing assumptions. We just heard that some assumptions with which Victor might not be agree because if you're doing something, he's not aware that maybe his beliefs it's not true. He's doing because he's believing in that, and it's really important that when we are making assumptions, that we are also, as we saw in a previous video, try to see the opposite way of thinking. Which is not usual, so pleasant and so easy to expose ourselves and to question our beliefs or our practice. When we are doing something, we are believing that we are doing our best. And then it's question how we are checking those assumptions. What do you think, how Victor could check if there is those assumptions correct or not? What is the easiest way to check?
By asking students, asking colleagues from opinions, because in a teaching or a training process, maybe the students are not the best possible people for the assessment, because they are not aware of everything that should be done in the pedagogical and teaching manner, but the colleagues could give a better feedback. That could be, but the sincere feedback.
Thank you. This is the usual situation. We are not sometimes even brave to ask. In many occasions, we are just creating assumptions, making assumptions. What the other person think about me? What the context is, maybe it's not just to my the most creative way of teaching, and that we are not brave enough to really approach our students, our colleagues, partners, and ask them what you are think about this assumption. Is it that assumption, my assumption about your behavior, is correct or not? And that's we already mentioned, Tamara mentioned Socrates at the beginning, and this is one of the methods which is really could guide us, and this combination in case studies would be really important and helpful if we are asking the questions. And this is some type of questions, some list of type of questions which we could use for different purposes, and you can see different examples of those questions. In Victor case, it's really important that you are timely asking for the clarification. If you are done something and then go home and think about what happened, it's useful. But it's better to ask for explanation, clarification in timely manner. Probing assumptions is also the beliefs of students. It shouldn't take for granted. It's always better to ask. Always try to find and ask for more information, more evidence and reasons for some kind of behavior. Alternative perspectives is the most challenging things, but maybe it's better if you are ask your students for some explanations. And yeah, there is a reflective and metacognitive questions. You could think and ask what led you to that conclusion, to understand the way of thinking, because we are biased with many different ways of thinking. As we mentioned, the school system is shaping us. The environmental and the social environment also shapes us, how we are thinking, how we are behaving. Maybe we are not brave enough to communicate openly, and that's could lead us to the wrong conclusions. And because of that, the questioning is the best way to toward the critical thinking and toward good solutions in a really complex situation.
It comes to my mind now, inspired by what Nicola is saying. Since we do have this great opportunity to have people from different countries, we in our region, we usually find that our mentality is common in terms of readiness to ask questions. For instance, when you have a public presentation or lecture, do you think students or audience is ready to pose the question right after the presentation? How is the situation if there are colleagues from other countries? We believe, or I believe, having experience in our country, that people are usually not always ready, especially students, when you have maybe some international expert or someone giving a lecture, unless they are really, really inspired by it, when there is a time to discuss or to ask the question, also in training situation, maybe it's part of mentality that we are not ready to ask the question, or it is something totally out of that. What would you think? Do you have some experience or some thoughts of that kind? Is it something like collective attitude to think critically in that terms, or to ask questions, or you think it doesn't make sense at all? Mirza, please.
Thank you. My experience, since for the few several years, I'm using a completely different approach in teaching. So it is a flipped classroom approach where students usually get all information in advance, and then during class time, since I don't have lectures anymore, we are discussing. So in the beginning, when I ask students, what do you think? Do you have any questions? What do you think about subject, a topic? They, in the first few seminars, they're not enough brave. But the third and the rest of our meetings, when they see each other, they find out the way how they can work in such a completely new environment for them. They become enough active, and they like to show what they learned. So one of my conclusions was, when students know topic, they want to show that, but just give them opportunity to show, not give him just he will raise a hand and then answer. No, you have to lead the whole class in a way of active working during all this, and they will show that. So it's not just mentality; it's the way of approach to students, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow.
Okay, thanks a lot. Do we have some other thoughts?
Yes, if I can add, I agree with Mirza, because there is an atmosphere in general, at least at my university, of not asking too much questions and not being actively involved. But if the teacher makes, how to say, not only a way of teaching, that's something that I agree, and the methods, but also the students need to feel comfortable to express own opinions, because they often don't. So it's really a lot to do with teachers' approach and atmosphere in the classroom, whether it's online or offline. They need to feel safe in expressing themselves, whatever they want to express. Because maybe in our region, I don't know how it's for others, they can share, we often have this, how to say, conflict. So if you don't have one type of opinion, you are immediately against So that's not about critical thinking, sharing, discussion. We have to respect each other and accept each other. So that's also something that it's from my experience.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Before I give the floor to Tamara, who also wanted, I think, to comment. No, she says you probably covered something what she wanted to say. It is clear that you cooperate a lot. Thank you. This inspires me to share with you a few things. Some authors, like authors belonging to this critical pedagogy field, like Brookfield, like Paulo Freire, and others well-known authors, they discuss that particular issue, which is the question, can we really be autonomous and ready to be critical thinkers in situation, in political and social context, when we are kind of forced to take a stance, to pick yes or no, to pick sides? And he says people who are from underprivileged or less educated or less free communities or societies, that is questionable. You know, our one of principles in adult learning that we rely on autonomy of learners, that we consider adults as autonomous creatures who developed that level of abstract thinking, and therefore they are capable of critical thinking. But this social, emotional, and all other features sometimes really prevent us to do so. So thank you very much for bringing up that. And the other aspect, you just gave me excellent introduction into what we also wanted to share with you. It is how to use some facilitation techniques and some teachers' tools and skills, opportunities to stimulate not only asking questions, but how to make that process of opening their minds more easy. And now we go to Socrates' slide. What Socrates claimed long ago, as we know, he said, I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. What a difficult task for us. Because is it I can only make them think? Is it easier thing that to teach them something? We think if we at the end of the day we have to deliver some knowledge, we have to share some exact ideas and findings and rules and theories with them, but how to make them really think at the same time. So Socrates developed his method, which is method of asking the questions and leading students through that process of finding the truth, as he could claim. But at the level of our everyday habits, for instance, when we read some text, can you imagine if we didn't put question mark at the end of each of these sentences? It would be just statements, isn't it? You would believe us, because if we are adult learning experts, you would say, yes, they're probably right that adult learners want to learn things that are connected to their real work or life experiences. But with a question mark, what happens to us? How different we perceive this text if we put question mark at the end, or it is just full stop at the end. How do you feel? Is there a difference?
Completely different, because interpunction signs are something that is giving you a sense in which direction you should think or not think about things. So now our rector usually writes his books with the question mark in the form of questioning everything, which is, is the attempt to make people think about different things. And if you put exclamation mark, that is giving you a completely different, tone of the text when you look at it, because you can say, see that with a point at the end, or see that with exclamation mark. It is completely different perception of the reader. And I believe, but sometimes people who are writing those things don't think about it. It is complete. It should be something that is a sign, or a writer should send a message with these things. Or when you have 3 points at the end, it's completely different. It is also pointing you to think about it. That is not the final truth. So this is something that we should all think of as when we are writing something, but I'm looking at interpunction when I'm reading something. Maybe now you have people which are not giving any kind of interpunction, so that is something that will endanger our language, definitely.
Thank you very much. So maybe when you teach your students or other participants, maybe you can try to apply this. And for some paragraphs, maybe you can put question mark instead of full stops. So maybe you can see what happens. Theory would say that it should stimulate discussion. It should stimulate that process of reflecting upon our own understanding, and that should maybe over the time develop our habit in some culture of which is safe and friendly atmosphere, as Mirza was explaining, but we are developing that during some time, not necessarily immediately. Then maybe over time people can develop that habit of questioning things. Not that they question, all the rules, all the laws that were developed in physics or in other exact areas, but it is good to exercise both for us and for students to put question marks sometimes at the end of some sentences. And also when we this is, I suppose you saw it sometimes, this I like this thought that minds are like parachutes and they function better when they are open. It is not easy just to make it like a miracle, after some course and after, but we can have that in mind, and we can be trying during our courses and our teaching different mechanisms of how we keep their mind open, how we, first of all, we know that it is also about their attention, their willingness to open their minds. But if we keep on creating that culture that, within the safe environment, they can ask or express what they really think, maybe it will help in opening their minds. And at the level of some skills and some facilitator tools, if you want, I also thought maybe we could share some very simple things that you already know, but just I wanted to remind you that in opening that mind, we can deal either with open or closed question, isn't it? It is just, the situation when we were asking you today if the answer to some question is yes or no. It was very difficult at some points to say yes or no. So we know if we in communication, if we ask people, is there warm now in this room, then the answer should be Yes or no, it is not. So if the answer is yes, this is the end of conversation about that, isn't it? What else can we get? I mean, if we want to find out more, we should ask more questions like, okay, is warm? Is there warm for everybody, or someone feels cold, etc., etc. But if we ask, for instance, how do you feel in this room, we will get much more questions than about temperature, about something that we had in mind. Maybe someone would say, oh, I feel really tired. And then it would be totally different than if we ask, is it cold or warm today in our rooms? So we know that it is, these questions are question of scientists, question of journalists, you know, when we want to answer what, who, when, why, and how. And this applies also to our teaching when we want to really stimulate discussion and also critical thinking.
We have one question from Boris for opinion.
Yes, thank you. Maybe not directly to this. You went too fast over the previous slides, but it's related to something you said before. And I didn't get a chance to ask a question. So there is always a question, if we are teaching critical thinking, should we also be critical towards critical thinking? And when is it too much? So when I see an image on the previous slide with a parachute, I always get very annoyed. Yeah, this is the one that I really hate. That says, yeah, brains and minds function better or best when they are open. Sure, there is true in it, but can there be too much critical thinking? Or maybe, let me give you an example. We have in science, particularly in technical sciences and medical sciences, we have procedures. We have protocols developed to exclude open-mindedness on purpose because they have a pitfall. When you think too much and you divert from certain protocols, there is no accountability in what you're doing. So yes, there is a moment when you apply. So, but perhaps you can introduce a little bit, or this would be a perfect moment to introduce that aspect of critical thinking here to say there is a limit. Yes, mind should be open, but there is a limit to that. So when I see these exaggerations that, and I'm in that sentiment throughout this whole training, and I'm waiting for this to be mentioned that this is perfect, but we have boundaries about critical thinking. And yes, I can be very open-minded, I can be creative, and I can introduce some I can divert from what everybody else is thinking because, or what I'm thinking is right, and I'm going to change my own opinion about this, and I'm going to divert from the protocols and procedures, and I'm going to do something different here because I feel there is something wrong in the process. And by the way, I'm a technician at the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl, right? So let's also, I wanted to ask a question about when you're talking about all these things and opening the mind and everything about the previous section is how do you actually define the proper dosage of critical thinking? And I know we are here at the very early stage of adopting even the critical thinking itself, but can we get maybe a sentiment to that? Thank you.
Thank you, Boris, very much. That is the example of critical thinking and also different perspectives of different disciplines that people present in our training community today. I think 300 grams of critical thinking in every scientific process is very good dosage. Okay, jokes aside, really thank you for this intervention. It is, again, I think, question of a portion of creativity and portion of formal thinking in solving any scientific problem. For instance, if we want to stimulate creativity and respect of different perspectives, as a teachers, we better tend to open minds of students as much as we can. I said that Socrates gave us very high standard. It is really not easy to stimulate someone's thinking, but you are completely right. Constant balance between knowledge and very concrete methodological steps that we have to take in each scientific process with some openness for another perspective. If we couldn't find best solution in nuclear power in Chernobyl, unfortunately, very promptly and at the right moment, I mean, I'm not for that field, so I'm just guessing now, then maybe we didn't have enough opportunities before to really have in mind all the different risks that can come. So that kind of openness, creativity in thinking is something that we, as literature says, need together with this other exact formal scientific measuring of what is necessary for solving some problem. We can discuss that in some other situation, maybe more, but thank you really for that intervention.
Yeah, also, I have a short opinion about that. I think the context is really important. And when we saw different definitions of critical thinking, they're working good or bad in different contexts. For example, if you are a nurse and you find some person in really bad condition, in hospitals there is exact procedures, and you should follow those procedures according to your knowledge. As much as you have more knowledge, your area for experimenting is bigger. And because of that, definitions, which is focusing on the knowledge, I think it's really important, because if you have a lot of knowledge, you can question the procedures. If you're just in position where you are executing some lab work, you should follow procedure, because otherwise procedure will be, the experiment won't work. And I think, yeah, there is also in theory, Kinshello is one of those theorists who construct this critical thinking term, which means that we also should be critical against critical thinking, because when we are assessing application of critical thinking in different contexts, we should ask ourselves how much we should be critical. And it's also important to mention that there is a difference between critique and critical thinking. And yeah, this is now a more complex aspects of critical thinking, because always we should think why we are doing that, what outcomes we would like to reach. And yeah, it's not easy to find the best solution, but it's always good to do this kind of meta-cognitive process and ask ourselves why we are applying critical thinking. What is the purpose of that? And when we ask ourselves that we will find the answer of that question: how much critical thinking I should use in that situation, because it's not a natural process and it's not easy to apply. And yeah, we should took a lot of things into consideration when we are doing something, when we are thinking.
Yeah, but in the context of the follow-up slide as well, thank you, Nicola, for proving my point. In the context of the very next slide that you started to talk about, then I should probably label my lessons. This is a subject that is open to critical thinking by students, and this lesson is not, because I think it's important for them to adopt this, and this is like a standard or a protocol. And I'm referring to another example of a girlfriend I used to date, and she had an exam in medical studies, and she was asked by a professor at the exam, these are the symptoms, so and so on, what do you think should be, what do we do? She asked the question, what do we do? And she said, I think we should do this and that. And she said, no, you have failed the exam because you cannot think. There are protocols that tell you based on these symptoms, you have to do that and that. So when you are talking about the context of the next slide that you have started, how do we set this fine difference between what is subject to questioning and debate and what is not in the context of our lessons that we are teaching students?
Thank you very much, Boris. At the end of the day, one of the, I think, simple definition of critical thinking is ability to defer what is important and what is less important. So this is continuous process. What we are doing today, we are trying to kind of artificially select some strategies that are really important if we want to integrate critical thinking in our teaching. It seems that we are so in love with critical thinking and that we think only about this. Of course, it is not applicable in every situation in teaching. Of course, it is something, when we say integrate, it is not that we teach about critical thinking necessarily or put that as our prior goal in teaching, but it is something that we have in our mind all the time, how important it is for scientific thinking. As we know, selection of what is important and less important, I think we can agree, is part of scientific thinking. But let me now first share with you that what we agreed here meantime is that it would be much more effective in terms of our capability for being very active online and on site, and our time and efficiency. Therefore, we decided to shorten the, as Nicolina kind of announced at the beginning of the day, to shorten the time of the training today. So we are now jumping in one, we think, very important part. It is that with short introduction, you do together in groups here and online one exercise with the goal for you to apply what we are discussing here and your knowledge and something that you have in your materials into creating short sequences of teaching, having in mind concrete topic that you are going to agree upon within your groups, and having in mind our recommendations from materials and from this training, and also having in mind time limit. I will explain more in a few minutes, but first, as an introduction, I would like to share with you some of the key ideas from the material that you received with invitation that you get from Tamara. These are materials from the publication that we prepared within this project. And it is dealing with different theoretical aspects of teaching critical thinking. And these are kind of principles that we as teachers can have in mind when choosing strategy and methods of teaching in whatever disciplines we are, if we want to develop critical thinking. So here we have several aspects. If you look to exercise or to material numbered 4.2. It says, does teaching critical thinking depend on a specific context? I would only shortly just tell you that we here mention few dimensions of the context. One dimension is that we refer to content. When we talk about context, we do not mean only context in terms of institution or social context, but we think about the context or domain of teaching. It is the context for applying specific methods or our knowledge of our learners in terms of what is their previous knowledge, how far can we go in our teaching and what we can expect of them, what they do know, and how we can build ability to think critically about some specific content. Then again, context is here present in terms of context in learning situation. For example, theories that belong to constructivist approach, they very much think that knowledge is construction, which happens either using our formative capabilities, our skills that we developed cognitively during our formal development, or social constructivists think that we learn the best in interaction with others, and we apply that very much, as you see in our strategy. And for instance, they think it is about formulation and reformulation of meanings that we add to our experience, and that goes on much easier if we interact with other people in the classroom, in online environment, or somewhere else. So we are going very soon to share this material into people in the room. And please, if you have this material in front of you in your screens, you can also take a look at that. So at the end of each of this chapter, we recommended some key takeaways for educators. So please take a look at them and think about it. For instance, what is related to this context, we recommend the teacher then should make sure she understands previous knowledge of their students. She or he could make sure that all the opinions and expressions of students should be valued and somehow acknowledged in order to make this atmosphere and this culture, as Mirza mentioned, where people are not reluctant to even ask the question or to discuss. These are some points that we shared here. Also, another aspect that we already discussed is that knowledge enough for critical thinking? And I think we already agreed that it is necessary, but not always enough, because our emotions, our reflections, our attitudes also interfere a lot in this process. So we better think a little bit wider about this aspect of critical thinking, and we better try to also think about those definitions which says critical thinking have many ingredients, and this is what is important is knowledge, experience, skills, attitudes, but also content and context, as we discussed here. And then we again recommend that to think critically, it means to open opportunity to reflect upon assumptions underlying our beliefs and also beliefs of our students in every action they take. Another dimension that we included here is how important is that metacognitive process? How important is that we think about thinking and share that with students? For instance, In that case study that about Victor that Nicola shared, that metacognitive conversation that teacher can lead with themselves is so important because it brings him to conclusions whether he applied teaching process in really useful manner for students or it only he thinks that it was useful. Also, that reflection, of course, can take place at inside level, but also what scientists say from their experience and from research, that it is really a useful habit for teacher to express loudly why he or she is using some method, why he or she is doing something, why he or she is asking students to do something. It also refers to this metacognition. Very similar process, an aspect that is important here as a theoretical framework aspect for choosing strategy for teaching critical thinking, in our opinion and opinion of scientists in our field, is that critical reflection. What we do in that process. In that process, we really rely on our experiences, but we rethink our experiences. We are trying to share that with other people, with students. We try to see are the meanings of our experiences are changing after we learn something in our life or in our formal schooling. And very tightly connected phenomena or concept from theory in this field to this reflection is that transformational moment is this is product of transformative theories of learning, and I think very often you would hear this coined expressions today, like within the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, we are asked to transform our world. We are asked to be transformative in our understanding of things. Our Victor in case study, teacher Victor, he tries to bring transformative experience for their students. And what authors of transformative learning theories claim is that transformative moment which opens our mind and give us very important lessons, whether it is about critical thinking or not, can happen really spontaneously. Sometimes we see the movie, sometimes we read the book, sometimes we hear one sentence and we say, wow, I simply didn't look at things that way. If we manage to provoke that moment in our teaching, it is really great opportunity for reflection of our previous experiences. And that process is just it is claimed in literature very important for our further opportunity to critically look at some things. So that's how we bring reflection in all this story. And last but not least, this a balance between creative and critical thinking. We discussed that a lot, and we think both are important for our teaching process. So I really try to just concisely remind you of some recommendations and some aspects of these theoretical summaries, which we thought are very important for us as a teacher when we decide what strategies then, having all that in mind, can I choose in creating some lessons in defining my approach to teaching critical thinking. So with that, I would not say anymore. I would ask you for our community, which is online, please take a look at this material that was sent by Tamara. If you want to get reminded of these key takeaways for educators at the end, which are very concrete recommendations on what can you apply in your teaching strategy. Then you can take a look at material of methods and techniques that Nicola will share with you once he divides you in a few working groups. And your task will be, when you get in the groups, which Nicola will help you do, to take a look at this material and to come upon agreement with your with friends and colleagues from your group. What topic would you choose from your fields to find one common topic that you can then use in order to design short sequence of teaching or training or lesson or any method that you choose from methods that you are familiar with, and try to create something that would maybe last as a sequence 15 minutes in real time, and try to say, okay, my target group are students of that level of study. My topic is how we diagnose certain disease, for instance. My method would be that and that. I would create one short sequence of very long course that we can devote time to that issue. And for instance, I will choose that and that method and sequence that lasts no longer than 5 minutes. And I would prepare presentation for entire group. Maybe if you don't want to present it, you are not ready to apply the method in front of all of us so quickly, you can only tell us what did you create. So again, your task is define what topic will you select, what method or techniques and method together will you select. Then you try to create one reasonable sequence of that you can put into 5 minutes presentation, and decide who and how will present that, whether you're going to retell what you decided to do or you're going to present it, to demonstrate it to all of us. For that exercise in your groups, you will have some 20 minutes. If you would need more, we will allow you to do it longer. And then please come with your solution, with any challenges that you have on that way, and with some maybe added ideas to that. I wonder if you have some questions now about this procedure.
We need 10 minutes just to read everything, but we'll manage.
Okay, then we can give you 30 minutes, no problem, for entire task. Is that okay? Okay, if that is okay, then Nicola is now dividing you into the groups, and then he will send you materials that you need to work. And we expect after 30 minutes, all of you from the groups and people from this room to just inform us or to demonstrate what they achieved for that time. And 5 minutes maybe maybe seems very short, but we are here in nano-learning project, which explains how we can use digital forms, which are really short and effective. So let's try to practice that.
Now you will be divided into the 3 groups, and be aware that there is also people who are using Zoom in the room. People in the room are working in different groups. Then if there is some group where there is no people able to work on that task, please write me down that I can distribute you to another group. And also, I already put those materials which you need to use, but I will repeat it into the groups again. Don't worry if you are not download already there. Then we are going into the 3 groups, and we have half an hour, which means that we are coming back from the groups around 35 minutes past 1. And the system will assign you automatically into the group. And you know when it will be like 10 minutes before the presentations should start.